What's up guys, Rideshare guy here, and today I've got a video for you about what should rideshare drivers do when you get a request for a minor. So honestly, it seems like this is happening more and more frequently, and parents are basically sending their kids in Ubers these days more frequently, or even giving them their own account a lot of times, right? A lot of high school kids seem to have their own Uber accounts, basically where their parents put a credit card in and now the kids have their own Uber account. And their services like Hop, Skip, Drive and Shuttle, which actually specialize in transportation for minors. But the only problem with them is they're a little more expensive. They're not in every city yet, and they generally require pre-booked rides. So they're not on demand like Uber. So there's this huge, basically, need for parents and kids who are using Uber, even though technically Lyft and Uber's policies actually say that minors aren't allowed to ride without adults. So you have to be over the age of 18. But really, what's the risk for drivers if you do take one of them? And I mean, obviously, most drivers may not even be aware of this policy. They may not even know that you can't take a high school kid or, like anyone under the age of 18. And even if you are aware of this policy, it's still a tough situation for drivers, right? Because let's say you get a request, you go drive, you've been waiting 5-10 minutes, you go drive 5 to 10 minutes, you get there, and it's some kid. Are you going to cancel that ride and now you don't get paid for the last 20 minutes, right? It's pretty tempting to take that ride, even though you kind of know it's against the rules, because now you're going to be losing money if you don't, right? And I mean, it's really not like carrying 5 passengers or having people bring alcohol into the car, right? Those are things are wrong. You know that there's going to be there's a potential that you would get a ticket for that. And with a minor, it's a little bit different, right? You're not going to get a ticket for transporting a minor. And frankly, like Uber and Lyft probably will just look the other way when you're transporting minors. Like obviously Uber and Lyft know that, who knows, maybe 10 to 20% of all rides these days are minors, but for them, they're still making money and they're not really bearing any of the risk. So I think that's where, as drivers, you really need to be thinking about what is your risk if you take a minor. And really what it boils down to, it's the risk of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, right? If you take a bunch of kids who've been drinking, right, or doing stupid stuff and they accuse you of something because they think it's funny, I mean, now you're liable to all of this, to a lot, basically, even if you didn't do anything wrong. And I mean, let's face it, kids do stupid shit, right? I mean, not to say that adults don't do stupid stuff either, but kids do a lot of stupid stuff. I was a kid once, you were a kid once, and just think back on all the stuff that you did. Imagine if you had an Uber at your beck and call, right? You're probably going to screw around with the Uber driver here and there. So, or you can imagine that some kids probably will, maybe not everyone. And, personally, I have no problem with these types of rides because I recently installed a Falcon dash cam, right? Which we've reviewed and kind of looked at a few dash cams in the past. And honestly, I think that, a dash cam is really the best way to protect yourself against these type of situations. And frankly, a lot of other situations, since if you're not doing anything wrong, right, you really never wanted to get into a he said, she said type thing with a minor, right? Because not to say that they won't believe you, but it's just always good to have evidence on your side. And I mean, I think of a dash cam or something like that as just such a cheap insurance policy. You go out, spend $100, $150, and now you have an insurance policy, really, right? Because you're protecting against the unknown. And that's what insurance is for. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what could happen. And even probably the odds of something happening are very, very low. But if it does happen, right, and it probably will eventually happen to some driver out there, right, if they have some type of dash cam that can support their side of the story, I think it would make a huge difference. So I definitely think that's probably kind of like my best solution. I'm curious to hear what you guys do when you get requests for minors. Do you accept them? Do you take the risk? Do you not accept them and kind of cancel on them and report them to their parents and Uber, who probably don't even really care? Or do you guys roll with a dash cam or something like that? So definitely, now you guys know the policy. Make sure you're being smart out there, and I look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe on the video. All right, take care.